Initiators are the base role in PaymentWorks, meaning all users who have access to PaymentWorks will be defaulted as an initiator unless otherwise determined by your company's administration team. What exactly does PaymentWorks do? Well, PaymentWorks makes sure every entity that your company pays is who they say they are, providing banking, compliance, and onboarding assurance. What does an initiator do? Initiators are aptly named because they are the role that initiates the entire payee registration process. Everything starts with the initiator invitation. When you first log into PaymentWorks, you'll be brought to our home screen. Here, you will find all of the tiles and links needed to navigate around the PaymentWorks platform. Let's start by looking at the Help Center. Click on the Help link in the top right corner of the screen. This is where you can find hundreds of articles and videos to help you learn about PaymentWorks. You can search by keyword or phrase in the search box, or you can browse by topic. Now let's take a look at your supplier list. Click on the Setup and Manage Supplier Portal tile. You'll be defaulted to the Administration tab. You can tell which tab you're on by looking at the color difference. Notice the Administration tab is a darker blue than the others. Click on the Suppliers tab. Here you will see all of the suppliers in both your ERP system and PaymentWorks. It is important to note that even though you may see suppliers listed here, it does not mean that they have been vetted by PaymentWorks or been approved for purchasing just yet. The most important column to look for here is the Connected column to the far right. Payees or vendors with a connected status means that they have been invited to PaymentWorks, submitted their registration, been approved by your vendor approval team, and then added to your ERP. Essentially, they have completed the entire registration process. You can search the list of payees or vendors by using the filters on the left. Additionally, if you need to see the invitation for the connected vendors, click on the View Request link under the green dot in the Connected column. Also located in the Setup and Manage Supplier portal is the Invoices tab. This is where you can find invoices and any corresponding information associated with them. To navigate back to the home screen at any point, you can click on the PaymentWorks logo, or use the drop-down and select Home, or click on the Home tab. As mentioned earlier, the most important part of being an initiator is starting the payee or vendor registration process. To start the process, click on Vendor Master Updates. As an initiator, you will be defaulted to the onboarding screen. This is where all initiators and users can view payee or vendor onboarding information. Onboarding and standard configurations of PaymentWorks will show all of the invitations sent to payees by any user in your system. Please keep in mind that depending on your company configurations, you may be limited to seeing only your own invitations. It is a PaymentWorks best practice to search your supplier and onboarding screens for either an invitation or payee information before sending an invitation. This will help avoid duplicate supplier records or one supplier having multiple invitations. To search on any screen, use the filters on the left. There are a number of ways you can search. The onboarding screen allows searches by vendor name, vendor number, email address that the invitation was sent to, as well as the approval status, like those still in pending, or those that have been approved or rejected. Let's send an invitation. Scroll to the bottom of the screen and click on Send Invitation. In the Invite New Vendor window, you will be asked to enter all the information necessary to send an invitation. You may see fields like company or individual name, the email address of the company contact to send the invitation to, a description of the goods or services being requested, and then fields for your information as the initiator. The final field is a personalized message. While it is not required, we recommend using this field to include a personal message to your vendor to be sent along with the invitation link and corresponding information. Anything here with an asterisk is a required field and must be filled out, otherwise your invitation will not be sent. Keep in mind that your instance of PaymentWorks may have a different set of requirements. Once your invitation has been sent, it will appear in the onboarding's view. In some standard configurations, your invitation may be sent for review and approval by another role before being sent to the payee or vendor. At any point in time, you can come back to this onboardings view to look at the status of your invitations. Once your invitation is sent to the payee or vendor, they will receive an email with a link along with the personalized message and any other supporting information for them to register with PaymentWorks. As with most platforms, they'll be prompted to create an account. They will then be sent a verification email to confirm or verify that they are registering. Once verified, they can fill out and submit the registration form for review by both PaymentWorks and your vendor approval team. Now let's take a look at the various statuses you may see on the onboarding screen. The invitation column relays all statuses directly related to the invitation itself. For example, on an invitation just submitted, it may say pending approval. Once it is approved, the status will show sent. When the invitation makes its way to the inbox of the payee or vendor, the status will say delivered. Opened means that the payee has opened the email but taken no further action. And finally, clicked means that the payee has clicked on the invitation link. If for some reason the invitation cannot be successfully delivered, your invitation will have a status of undeliverable. Finally, if your invitation has a status of rejected, click on the status and a message from the approver will display. Rejections can be resubmitted for approval only after a change has been made to the invitation itself. Under the vendor account column, you can see if the payee has created their account or not. Statuses will either be no account, meaning the payee has not started their process, registered, meaning that the payee has created an account but not completed the validation, or email validated, meaning that the payee has registered and verified their PaymentWorks account. They can now start the full payee registration process. The final column is the new vendor registration column. This is where you can see if the payee has started their registration form. Until they begin, the status will be not started. Once started, an in progress status will show. Once your payee or vendor submits their registration, there are 3 statuses that will display. Submitted pending PaymentWorks review means that PaymentWorks is now reviewing the submitted registration before sending it to your vendor approval team. Submitted PaymentWorks waiting for vendor response means that the payee has submitted their registration and PaymentWorks has reached out to the payee for information regarding the registration. The last submitted status is submitted pending internal review, meaning that the registration is now sitting with your vendor approval team to review, approve, and add to your ERP. A returned status means that the registration was sent back to the payee to make corrections. Approved means that your vendor approval team has approved the registration. Rejected means that the registration was rejected by your company. And finally, complete means that the payee has been added to your ERP. You will notice that the vendor number is also listed under the complete status. As an initiator, when a vendor registration is complete, you may receive an email stating that the registration has been completed, along with the vendor number and, if applicable, a DBA. In some cases, you may need to resend an invitation. For example, if your payee reaches out and states that they have deleted the original email, or for any other reasons they simply never received it, you can resend the invitation. To resend an invitation, look for the payee or vendor you need, and in the invitation column, click on the status link. You'll see your option to resend the invitation. You can edit the information and then click Send. Please keep in mind, you can only resend an invitation up until the status in the vendor account column changes to email validated. You may also see other options like cancel invitation or disable reminders. If enabled, canceling invitations will allow you to cancel the registration link within the email invitation itself. Disable reminders will disable the timely reminders for payees or vendors who have not clicked on the invitation link. Canceling an invitation moves them to the Canceled Invitations screen. To view canceled invitations, check the Show Canceled Only box. You can track the process of the invitation from start to finish with the percentage complete status bar. If you have any further questions or would like to learn more about PaymentWorks, please visit our Help Center for articles and videos on the PaymentWorks process.